Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to apply style to your HTML page using CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. I've already created a sample HTML page with name index.html, and I have the basic structure of HTML set up with the heading head1 h1 tag, CSS and HTML. So if we fill this on the browser, we'll have it CSS and HTML. I'm using Live Server. If you don't have Live Server installed on your system, you can come to extension here and click and search for Live Server. Okay, you can look for this specific Live Server. This is the one I'm using, Live Server by this. So you can install the live server. When you install the live server, you can start the live server bot. I'll just terminate this one running already. So you can either right click on the document and you will see stop live server or start live server. That's because my live server is already running. Okay, stop live server. You can stop live server there. Then you can also see start live server among them. But if you didn't see start live server here, you can look down to this icon where you say click to run live server, right? I'll just click here. It's going to start my application on port 5500 for me. So the application will run here. Automatically, what live server does, it will help to watch the changes you made on your application and or restart um, the browser for you automatically. All right, we're good to go. Okay, so now I have heading one and I have a basic paragraph tag where um, I'll have some couple of text written here. Okay, I just have this couple of texts written set up here in my paragraph tag. So if we check live server again, I have this text set up a paragraph, right? In a previous lesson or previous video, I've already showed us how to start HTML and CSS, or HTML, how to start programming HTML. If you have not watched the previous video, I'll leave the link on the description box below. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, you click on the subscription button so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. I have paragraph tag and I have heading tag here. So for us to apply HTML or CSS to this HTML file, we can use three ways to apply it. We can use inline styling, and we can use internal styling, and we can use external style sheets rather. So let me have an anchor tab as well. I'll just say link to www.coco.com. So this link is an external link that points to Coco website. Okay, all right. So if we look this on the browser, we just have a basic link and all this. So this is the basic HTML page, how it looks like. So it will not look nice. So for it to look good, we have to apply CSS style sheet to it for it to look nice. Okay, couple of ways. The first way is to use internal styling or inline styling rather to style the um, HTML tag you want to style. So to do so, we can use style as one of the attribute of HTML elements. Then we can now say color. We want to apply color to this text. We can call it red, like so. So if we check on the browser, this will automatically change to red. Same thing with the paragraph tag. You can still use style as well and give it a color or background color rather. And we can now say green as well. So this will be changed to green. This is how color is being applied using inline styling. But that's not a perfect way of working with a large project because you have to manually type this file to each of the elements in the page for it to work. Even if you have another file you need to apply the same style to it, you need to manually type it by yourself. Okay, another way you can apply style to it is using internal styling. Then we need to have a style sheet like so up here. Then we'll select it. I'm going to remove this right now from this place. So we can select the heading one as a selector, heading one, like so. H1, which is this, we want to style it. Then we'll open this parenthesis right away. Then we can call the property as color and we apply the color to it. We'll call it red. Then if you checked it again on the browser, we're going to see that the color is being applied to the head one. And the same way we can call if we want to apply another style to like the paragraph tag, we still need to call the p tag like so and apply the color. Maybe we say color, we'll call it color, say blue to it, blue as well. So if we check, all the color of the text will change to blue. What if we want to write another property of the heading one? Maybe we want to put background color, we can call it, or we want to put border, we can call it border 2 pixels, 2 pixels solid, then we can call it gray as well. So you see that we have the border up here, and this is how we write another attribute. So if we still want to write more, we'll come to the next line and we write it. We can now have something like border radius, which makes the border to curve based on the pixels you apply. Border radius 8 pixels. What this does is going to curve the edges of this border. So if you check it, you see that the edges of this border is rounded now. So that's what it does. So what really happened is the CSS packet looked into the element and looked for the name of the element H1 and apply all these styles to it. If we have like up to another H1 inside this document and we say another section like so, automatically these styles will be applied to it, right? Because the CSS file look for this element H1 in the entire document index.html and apply the given style to it, right? So what if we have another file, maybe about.html like so, about.html here like so, and we still want to apply the same style to it, you see that it's not going to be possible. We will need to manually copy the entire of this and paste it in about.html in the head before it will work. We'll have about.html here, call it about as another file, call it head1 as well, say about, right? For this to work, if we still launch this in this port, if we go to /about here in this port, you see that this style for it to work, we need to manually copy the entire of this style sheet and apply it here. So, and also if we need to change anything in this style sheet, right? If we want to change maybe the color from here, we need to manually go through all these files and change the color, which is not a nice idea if you're working with a very large project that will have like up to 50 pages or 5 or 10. So for you to move around all of them to change this color to what you want is just a big work. So what I like doing is to create another file, external style sheet for CSS, and write all my CSS rules inside the style sheet and link them. So that's just what I'll just do. I'll create a new folder. Into it, I'll call it CSS, right? Then inside the CSS folder, I'm going to create a new CSS file. I'll name it main.css, like so. Then here, I'm going to grab all these files, right? All these rules, CSS rules, I'll just copy them one after the other, or I remove it from here. Then inside this rule, I'm going to call H1, which is the first rule I want to apply. Then I'm going to say color is red. Color should be red. Go back to the page, you're not going to see the color applied to it because we have to link it up here under the head of this. So inside here, I'm going to call link, which will link to the CSS file main.css. So I can supply the path using this hyperreferencing. I can do dot forward slash, then select the CSS folder, which is here, then select the main.css file up here. Now, if we go back to the page, we're going to get the file, the color being added to the main page. Okay, so we'll be working with this external file sheet. This is external style sheet we just created, and it's the best practice when we're working in a big project. All right, so more to do inside here. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things to do using this main the CSS file I've just created and this index file I've just created. All right. So in the main.css file here, I will just get the H1 attribute and would say look into the any file that is linked to the main.css and look for H1. When you see the H1, apply these rules that are inside here to that specific element. The same thing we're going to do with this paragraph tag. I'm just going to call the paragraph tag out here, p tag. Then I'm just going to say apply border to this paragraph tag, and I want the border to be 2 pixels, 2 pixels, dotted, dotted. Then the color should be gray as well. All right. So if we go back to the page, we'll now see that the border of the page is now dotted, right? All right. So more of the thing we can do again. Let's start from this H1. We can apply. I'm going to show you how to use font size, the size of the font in this heading one. You can make it large, make it medium, larger, small, extra large, or you specify the pixels you want. Let's say 28 pixels in pixels. So really, if you get the size is now smaller, or would you like 16 pixels? If you rush and check, you see that the size of the HTML text is now smaller. That means the rules is being applied to it, right? Okay. So we can as well talk about the font of the font family, which is you can choose from any of these, but when using font family, you have to be consistent and know the default font family because this works based on the font you installed on your system, right? So if I select this font now, then in my system I have this font, it's going to work perfectly fine. But in anybody that will use this site, if the person is not having this kind of font, then the font will not work, right? So you have to take your time and read more about the font. So I just Arial font we're going to use. All right. Okay. So let me remove this font property. Okay. Or I'll leave it at 28 rather. Okay. So we have the font back to a bigger size. This is how to apply font, and that's what font does. All right, so we can as well do something as text center, text align rather, which allows, all right, have to terminate this text text align, which the text can be center. You can align the text center, you can align it in, or you can align it to the start as well, whichever one. Center will align it at the center, like so. Then end, we'll take it to the end as well. Anyway, you want to align it very well. So we can leave it as start, which will align it by the left hand side of this page. All right, this is the some of the properties you can use up here. And as well, I want to talk on paragraph. With paragraph, you can determine the text and determine text transform, whether you want to transform it to capitalized, lowercase, none or uppercase. If I select uppercase, the font will be capitalized all through. All of them will be in uppercase format all through. These are a couple of stuff you can do. You can as well work on letters, words, letter spacing. Letter spacing, you can specify in pixels, maybe 20 pixels. You're going to get letter space very well, right? Or you leave it at 10 pixels as well. You're going to have a space, that's letter spacing. All right. So you can also have like word spacing, word wrap, word spacing. It will have maybe 8 pixels. Let's leave this 5 pixels as well. 5 pixels, 5 pixels as well. So we're going to have the word spacing to be in this format. If we specify more, we can have like enough spacing between the words. All right. Okay. Coming back to here, right? We can also have um, text decoration. Text decoration, we can have like underline or dash or dotted or line through. Line through is going to cross this. This how it will cross it up here like a kind of council. So let's say if have price up here, I'll still have a p tag, right? Then I have 500. Let me use $500 up here. If I call inside the p tag, if I use p tag, if I apply text decoration into this p tag, then and I use cross through, it's going to cross through all the word including this, right? Okay, we now see the problem with the selector using a generic selector, that any style you apply to one is going to be applicable to any of the attribute that have it. So we need to have a way to identify, maybe we want to apply only the style to only this without this paragraph tag, right? That takes us to selector. We can automatically give this a class which will act as a selector. We give it a name, then we can give it as price. Then when we are styling, we want to apply style to only this in the CSS style, we're just going to call. So I'm going to remove this from here. So if I remove it, everywhere is going to be fine. I'm going to call, I'm going to call dot p space dot price. That means look through all the paragraph tag with a class of price. And if we see in that this HTML, we have paragraph tag with a class of price. So this is what we call it. Select any element, a paragraph tag element with a class of price. Then we're just going to apply the text decoration to it. Then we pass in line through. So if we now look into this like so, it's supposed to take an effect. So but it's like something gone wrong. So we're just going to look into it now. Okay, keep a space in between. So it will look into it and apply the style up here, right? Okay, so this is how we select elements. So we can select element by ID or by this. So if we want to apply this border to only this, we can, the way we can do that is to give this a class, then the name can be text1 as so. So we can use select any paragraph tab with an ID with a class of text1 as well. So you see that this will only be applicable to this. So this is how we can select this and work with it. All right. For us to see CSS working fully on the website, let's set up a very simple project and see how we can apply CSS very well to it. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to remove all this here. All right. Okay, I still have my folder set up. All right. Okay, I'll call it Tech Club. Okay, inside here, I'll have a very basic setup of this project in this rep. Like I like to wrap it with a div, and I'm going to give it a class name. This div will have heading 2 paragraph, a heading 2 tag with tag club name. Okay, like so. Inside here, I'm going to open a section which is okay. Instead to wrap div with a div, I'm going to use a header like so. Header is one of the HTML element as well that you can use to start and heading. So we're going to have a section up here. Section is part of the HTML element that allows you to wrap many other elements in it. I'm going to have an image. Okay, because of the image I'm going to have him, I'm going to create a new folder in my working directory. Then I'm going to call these images, where I will get some images inside here, right? Okay, so I'm also going to have another div element with a class. I'm going to have a class, div with a class. This class is going to be class welcome, welcome text as well. Then I'm going to call this class banner as well. So inside here, I'm going to have heading 3 inside the head. heading 3, I'm going to say welcome. Welcome to then I need to have a span inside of it. So I'm going to do some kind things. Okay, let me just separate this. So we're going to have a welcome to tech club, rather tech club. Okay, as well, I have this basically set up, right? Then I'm still going to have some other section inside here. This section will be my navigation bar. Then I'm going to have a nav keyword. Then this nav will be wrapped with UL on ordered list, and I'm going to have a of elements, list of elements. Okay, I'm going to have the first li, and I'm going to have anchor tag with it. I'm going to have home, oops, home. Then I can just have another one inside the anchor tag. We're not going to have any link for now, so I'll just have leave it empty. Have another one, then about inside here, about then inside here again, li. I'm going to have contact us. Okay, and this is cool. So that's just what I have in the nav bar. Then in this other section, I can have another section. This section is going to bring up the right up. Inside this section, I'm going to have UL on ordered list. Then I'm going to have list of images. So I'm going to have some images in it. So for now we don't have these images, but I'm going to search for some images and bring it in to this working directory. So I'm still going to have another image tag, like 3 image tag, like so. All right. Then in another section or div tag, in another div tag, I'm going to have um, a section with um, a form subscribe here. So I'm going to have H5 that says subscribe, subscribe now, right? And the subscribe now is going to have form. Inside here, I'm going to have a class. Forgotten say a join. Okay, that's the name of the class. So inside here, I'm going to have a form that will just basically take a form field, input field, and the input field is going to have a placeholder and say enter your email address. All right, then I'm going to have a submit button. So this button, and then it's going to be join. Join us, right? All right. So inside this section, this is going to be content section. I'm going to have a class that will be content. Right? We have content then. Then this class is going to be navigation, navbar rather. All right. So if we look this in the page, we just have a manual setup of this field. I think we need to write something. All right. So now we need to look for images that we use in these places, and we're going to display here. So I can just go up to, can just search for some image images in Cuckoo, side Cuckoo, take up like so, take clap rather. So we can look for images here. All right, so I have some images here I just got. Okay, so we're going to insert those images now. Okay, into a project. We put it in the images folder already. So inside the section, the banner section, we're going to add the image up here. So it will specify the path images. So I'm going to use this tech club, and as well I'm going to display this image, this particular one up here. So in the hot forgot image, sorry, mistake, sorry, the image is going to be on the source, the path of the image is going to be on the source, then the hot is going to be back clap straight away. We're going to see the image here on our site added up. All right, so other images we're going to add them just straight away. So the first one is take one dot image, specify the path, then take one, then take clap in the hot, take clap. Okay, as well here, specify the path, then two, then as well take clap. Here as well, we specify the path, then three, then we'll have take clap. All right, so if we check on the browser now, we have some images here shown on this page as well. And we're going to work away. This is a manual HTML page, a normal HTML page, looking so unstructured as well. So we're going to structure it and make it look good and nice just straight away using CSS. All right, in our CSS file, I'm going to do away with all this, just remove all this. All right, now we want to apply the CSS to the style sheet, to the HTML file we just created. For us to do so, let's just take a look at CSS, how we can work with CSS now. CSS is a style sheet. For us to apply style to CSS, we need to select the element we want to apply the style to. After the element is being selected, then we now apply the rules to it. So the element here with curly brace, then the CSS property we want to apply to the element, and if we want to write another element, we'll call the element in question and we'll apply the style. So back to to VS Code, Visual Studio Code. In our HTML file, for instance, we have header right here, which is where this particular element is being used in a page. So we want to apply style to here. For us to select it in a main.css file, we'll call header like so, which is of the same syntax, right? This header is this HTML element we just call want to apply style to, right? Okay, so we can now apply any style we want to apply to here, right? Okay, all right. For instance, we can say color, then we'll call it red. If we go back to the to our page, we'll automatically see that the color property has been applied. Cool. Back to Visual Studio Code. I want to I want to work with this. But before working with this, you can see that this image is too big and it's looking somehow. So I just want to touch it small. But before I touched it, I still want to talk about selecting elements by ID and by class. You remember when we created this, we give this a class name to select the class property in CSS. We will need to use a dot selector, then the name of the class. In this case, I want to call this class banner right away. Then I can say banner like so. Now we have automatically select the element by class. The same thing by ID. An element can have both class and ID. For instance, we can use ID like so. Then we'll give it another name, maybe header or head like so. Then we can as well select it. When we are selecting ID in CSS, we're going to use the hash selector. We're just going to use the hash, then we'll call it head rather. What we gave it a head, then we'll style it. Sometimes the ID property is mostly used when you are programming JavaScript. So for now, we'll not be using it. I was just trying to show you. That's where in our course file, you can as well select the ID as well, like so. So I was just trying to show you. So I'll just remove it for now. Right. So remember, our image is too big. It's too big. We want to shape it small as well and make it look good so we can work with it. Now, for us to achieve that, we're going to call the banner property and the image property, which is the image on the site. So for us to achieve that, we're going to bring up another property that calls um, dot banner, then the image itself, him banner him. Remember, this is the class banner and this is the image we are referring to. Image him property. So we want to give it a max width of 100%, right? So if we go back to our page, you can see that it has already reshaped and now it's okay. The scrolling is no more there. If you didn't see what happened before, let me show you. Normally, this is how it was before. The image was too big, scaling this. So by applying max width to the image, we just scale to the few points in this file. Cool. All right. Now I'm going to explain some stuff because the couple of stuff I have in my mind to work with is to align this welcome to take up on top of this image, and what that can do that is what we call position. The position property in CSS is what that can do that. So we have different types of position. We have relative relative position. I'm just bringing up a comment here to spell out to write this. We have relative position, and as well as we have absolute position, absolute position. We have fixed position. Okay, it's better start with fixed position. We have fixed position, fixed, and we have static position, static. We have sticky position in CSS. Okay, now by default, all HTML properties come with a fixed position, which allows the element to be fixed to a viewport, right? Okay, normal by default, all HTML elements come with that. But now relative position allows the element to be relative to the viewport. We're going to explain this in reality, right? So for instance, up here, the parent container that holds some elements, if I apply a position of relative to the parent, to this parent container, which is section, right? I can now be able to make this other element, welcome text, to be positioned absolutely to the relative parent position, which will allows this element to climb on top of this parent element, right? Okay, I know it might be somehow complicated to understand, but by the time we do it, you really get what I'm trying to say. Okay, now I'm going to apply a position of relative to this parent, which is section banner in our CSS file, so I can apply a position of absolute to the child element, which is the welcome text, which will allow the welcome text to climb on top of the parent element, which is the um, banner, right? So we're just going to do that straight away. Here, I'm going to use position element, position, which is going to be relative. Remember, this is the parent that is taking relative. So if you check on the side, you can automatically see that nothing happens. This is what we are working on. I think I should break this. So we'll have to. I'm going back here. I'm just going to apply break here. It's HTML property break. So we'll have this break into two, right? All right. So I want this to be on top of this image so I can have some good style on it, right? Okay, and I want to change this from H2, H3 to H1 rather. Good, so it will be bigger small, right? Okay, so back to main.css. So we have this of position, we have this as position relative, right? Now, for the welcome text itself, what I would likely want to do, I want to apply the position. Now, that was why we gave this welcome text a class as welcome text. I'm going to copy this class, welcome text, go to my CSS down here. I'm going to bring up um, the class dot banner into the welcome text, right? Inside here, I'm going to have position. The position this time is going to be position absolute. Absolute. So if we check here, you can see that this shift on top of this before. Let me just comment this out so you see quickly. That's how it was before, right? So if I apply absolute now, it's going to have some position, right? So if I apply top, position will allow you to apply top, right? And bottom, specify the position absolutely to the top parents from the parents top where you want to position it, bottom, left, and right. So if I use left, if I use, let me get top, I want to position it top like 200 pixels, right? Let's have pixels. Just watch. It's going to climb up here. Can you see, right? Okay, so I now have this climb on top of my image, which is what I was absolutely looking for, right? I think it's too much. I want it to be at the center. So I can give 110 pixels. Let's see where it is. 110 is too much. Too, 100 pixels, right? Let me try 150. We'll adjust it till we have what we want. 150 is going up. Okay, I guess 300 pixels. 300, 300 pixels, 300 pixels. Okay, I think it's still remaining 320 pixels. Small. Okay, this is cool. Good. So we have this, but if we try to adjust this, okay, let me bring up a background color. Now, I don't want some kind of margin there, so I'm going to specify position left. I don't want it to have any position left. I just want to leave it at 0, right? So if I try to inspect this, right? Click on inspect. It will open dev tools for me, which will enable me to scale this. You can see that the what we just did is only responsive on large device screen, but when once we scale to small device, the position is this. The reason being that we use pixels, so it still calculates 320 pixels from the top of the parents, right? That's why. So I'll likely change this to um, uh, instead of pixels, we use percent. So this will automatically calculate the percentage, right? Okay, we now see that this has gone off the page, so that's much. So let's try using 30%. Okay, right now we still have the image up here down, but it's not at the center. So we can try using 40. Let's see whether we have it at the center. Good. I think it's okay, 45 rather. 45%. Good. I think this is good. But if we inspect this again and check, you can see that everywhere is good. It can scale it and calculate it 45%, right? Okay. So we have that 45%. I think it's much. 45%. This should be 40, right? Let's check. Right. Okay. 40, right? All right. So we'll have it scale on image 40%. What I need to do is I'll just apply the background color to this and change the background text. So let me have a background color. I can have background color. Now I want to talk about this color. Color, we can specify the name of the color, like so red, right? But now, if we specify red, there are some colors that we will want to use that the name will likely don't know the name, right? So I want to introduce us to another way we can find colors. We can specify colors in by name using hexadecimal code and using RGB. The total value using RGB value, the color code ranges from 0 to 255, like so, 0 to 255. If you picked any color in the form of RGB between 0 to 255, you're going to definitely have a color. But if you are using hexadecimal code, you're going to specify color code from 0 to 9 and from A to F. The mixture of these 0 to 9, A to F will give you colors, right? These colors are classified into groups. The first two values in the color code, whether RGB or hexadecimal, represents red, while the second value, second group of value represent green, and the last two value represent blue, right? So if you're using RGB value, the combination of the piece of numbers, either numbers or letters, will represent, will give you a color, right? So that's what we're just going to do. So back to our code. I'm not going to use this. Instead, I like using hexadecimal. So F1 into 6, right? And it must always be 6. This is for red. The second P is for green, and the last two P is for blue, right? Okay, this is the kind of color I guess I'll do. Let's check it out what we have on the page. Whether it's looking good, it's looking somehow white. I'm not sure. Another thing you can as well, if you are using VS Code, you can as well teal from the color palettes right away. If you hover on this color, this will come up. Then you can do that. I think this is the this one to use for now, right? Or we should make it more light, like so. Let's check it again. Okay, I'm going to apply some padding to this so I can have padding to my box. So padding is in form of, if I apply padding like um, shorthand padding less 10 pixels, these 10 pixels will be applicable to top, right, left, and bottom. So it's going to apply the padding to all of this at once, right? Okay, right? I think I'm not that cool with this color. Let me see whether I can get another color and see how it's going to be. All right, let me just try this out. So I'm going to leave this color for now, this particular color. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to increase the font of my text here. In my head one, this welcome text, I'm having head one. This is head one. I think it's not that as I want. I think I should have like up to font size and font width. Font size, font width first. Let me have like bold. Okay, let's check what happens. Still the same. Then font size. Let me have 28 pixels. I want the size to be bigger, 28 pixels, right? Okay, 28 is much. Then 26 will be better. Right way. Okay, 26 pixels. The padding more, I want to have add more paddings to this as 15. Okay, you just watch the padding. Cool. Okay, now I want to work on this heading right away, right? Okay, my heading, I want to give it the same color, slatter blue. So remember, this heading, we have head 2, H2 inside of it. Then we have the heading itself. This is the parent um, elements that contain the H2 element inside. So automatically now I want to style the parent head element, which is the header, right? Okay, back to our header. So I'm just going to remove this color for now, right? Okay, I'm going to give it a background color of slatter blue, slat blue rather. So if we go back there, we're going to have this slat blue, and I'm going to have a padding, shorthand padding of 20 pixels, right? Padding of 20 pixels. This will make this to be bigger. Let's check what I did. Padding 20 pixels rather. All right. So we'll have this as cool as this. I want to align the this text at the center, right? Okay. I want to bring in the text to the center. So I'm going to say text center right away. Okay, I can leave this for now. Now let's style this particular text itself is inside this heading one. This is H2 rather, right? Okay, so we're just going to style it. Instead, I'll make it H1, right? H1. So it's going to be big, like so. So I'm going to style it straight away. So for me to style it, I'm going to call header, then H1. Remember that we have the H1 inside the header, right? So that's how to call it. So I'm going to give it a color of white color. I want it to have a white color, so I can just call white right away. So we have it white, right? I'm going to first of all have a border of 8 pixels, right? Border, border of 8 pixels. Then I want to make it solid, solid, right? Solid. Then the border, I want the border to be white, right? Now this is shorthand, right? To writing border style, border color, and border size, right? So I'll just give everything one here, border 8 pixels, right? Then I have the to be solid, the type, the style, then I have the color. So if you check this, what I'm having automatically right away, but in this case, I don't want it to be like this. And also I want the padding of this border, right? I want it to be padding 6 pixels, 6 pixels, padding, and 12 pixels. So this will apply to top and bottom, and this is left and right. The first one is for top and bottom. The second one is for left and right. So I'm going to have this. Another thing I want to do, I want to display this. I want to apply a display to this. I want the display to be inline block so that it will not span everywhere. I just want it small somewhere here. So I'm going to say inline block, display inline block. If we go back and check this, what we have automatically right away, right? All right. Okay. So now, going back to the parent container, right? Right. I want this. I want this particular header, right? I want it to be at the center and definitely not hanging like this, right? I'm going to go back to my header. Inside my header, remember that header is the parent container of this. So I'm going to start that header so that this will come up, right? So from the header, I'm going to have a position, or let me first of all position this thing at the center. So text align, I'm going to give it center. Text align allows this to be positioned at the center, right? So we have text align center. And the next thing I want to do, I want to make it a fixed position. Now I want to talk about fixed position. Fixed position allows the element to be in a particular position that is fixed while scrolling the entire page. So I'll have position and I will have it to be what? Fixed. So if you watch this height, right? This height because this particular parent, this banner is position relative, right? And this is a fixed position. So for us, if I try to inspect this, right? you will see that it hides under. If I just look for header, right, you can see how it's hidden somewhere here, right? So if I take it there, you see that that's the header is being hidden there. So what I'll definitely do is to bring up, make the width, this width, if you check, it's not full width, it's just small, but I want to make the width to span everywhere, right. Okay, so I'm going to use on the parent container, which is the header, I'm going to use width 100% to make it, to make this full width 100%. If you offer now on the header, you can see that it's full width. And if you even looked, you're going to see it here at the bottom, this small thing here. You can check it there and you're going to see it there, right? So now I'm going to, for us to bring the width up out here so that we can see it on the this. So there's what we're going to apply, index. Set index, what it does is when a value is positive value, it's going to come up, but if it is a negative value, it's going to return back. So I'm going to bring set index as 1, and this is going to come out. And you can see that while scrolling the page, this is fixed, right? It's automatically fixed, right? And that is because we apply a fixed position to the nav. And this is too big for me, right? It's absolutely too big for me. So let's revisit the style once again. And I think I'm going to reduce some of the padding up here. So I'm going to have, instead of 20 pixels, let's try 15 pixels, right? Good. 15 pixels. I think it's still much. 15 pixels, 10 pixels. Right. Sorry, 10 pixels. Okay, I think this is better. And I think I'm going to work up with this one as well. Going back to main.css file, now we can reduce this padding to 10, 10 as well. Padding to 10. What do we have? 10. Okay. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I want to introduce you to border radius, which we will apply to this. I just want to cover these edges as well. So I'm going to have border radius, border radius. We can apply border radius of 28 pixels. So we'll go and check it out. What really happened? Cool. 28 pixels. That's it. Let's try 30. I want it to be completely curved. 30 pixels right away. Cool. 30 pixels. Still remaining small here. So I can have 35 pixels completely curved. Cool. So we have this setup, but this is still looking big for me. I think I still need to reduce this to 5 padding so that it will not be that much, and as well reduce this to, this is margin top and bottom, right? I think I'll reduce it to 3. Let's watch. Okay, I think it's better now. So we have this position fix, and we have the name of our site being fixed. If you look up here, there's we have some um, margin, some caps here, and we have some caps here. I don't want to see those caps and I want to remove them. So on the parent container, I'm going to say, as long as we have position, I'm going to say left. I'm going to apply 0 to it, left 0 to it, and this small up here, I want it to go. So I'm going to apply top as well. Top, I'm going to have 0 to it. view. So we have that covered everywhere, and we don't have the space anymore as well, and we don't have the space. If you look the image, the same thing is applicable to the banner. So I can also have left 0 and as well as top right, rather right 0. So if we look, supposed to have this okay, we're still working on it, so this will span everywhere. Next thing I want to work on is to work on this navigation bar up here. So if we go back to our code in the HTML file, we have the navigation here with a class of navbar, a class of nav rather. Okay, so we're just going to work on it. I'm going back to the main.css file down here. So I'm just going to remove this. So it's just a comment. So I'm going to call sorry, nav. Remember is HTML element nav, right? I'm going to call it. So the nav, I'm going to give it a background color. Background color of ash. I think this will be better. This background color will be better. So if background color of this and a padding of 20 pixels, 20 pixels right away. So if we check it now, we have a color like this, right? I think I should tell it more a little bit. So from here, I'm still going to bring it up more, bring it down more a little. Okay, I think this is better, right? Okay, so next couple of things I want to do, I want to style the this itself, right? Okay, I want to make this to be in a straight line, and as well um, remove this list style. So going back here, we have a class. Remember, this navbar, the li is the parent of the li element is the navbar. So I'm going to call nav space li, right? That's the list element. I'm going to have width of 25 pixels. 25 pixels. If you check here, you're not going to see any changes from now. 25 pixels, and I'm going to have a display of inline block. This will allow this to spread forth. If you check, it's going to spread forth like so, right? But I'm going to as well have um, a font size of 24 pixels, 24 pixels as well. So if we check, this is what we have. Everything collapsed within itself right away, right? Okay, so I want to spread this straight away. So with this, let's check this out. Okay, so I'm going to bring up, I'm still going to style this nav UL so that this can stay well. So I'm going back to the CSS. I'm going to have nav, then UL. Remember that the UL is a parent of the li, so we want to style the parent straight away. So for now, we're going to have a white space. We're going to just bring up the white space to be no wrap. We don't want it to um, wrap anyone. So we can now have everything now in spread format. Then we can as well have max width, which max width want the max width to be 1200 pixels, right? Straight away. Then we're going, nothing is going to happen. Then we're definitely going to set the margin auto, trying to center this margin to 0 pixels auto to 0 auto, which will allow this to be at the center. 25 pixels. Let's try having 30 pixels here and check. Okay, I think let's increase this to 50 pixels. 50 pixels, and we still need to have 70. Okay, so okay, we have this spread round 70. I think 80 will be better. 80 pixels. We have this spread, 80 pixels inline block with font size of 24, right? Away now. Okay, so 20 pixels. Let's try 90. Want it to be more better. All right. Okay, this is what we have just right now by having this. So the next thing we want to do, we want to remove this text decoration, this underline under the navbar. For us to do that, we can call the navbar. Remember that the underline is from the anchor tag. That's the A attribute which is inside the li. So for us to get it removed, we're going to call the nav, then li a, which is the anchor tag that brought that. Then we can do text decoration to be none right away. So we have this removed, and I think we have to change the color of this to this particular color. I think so. So I can just have color right away. So let me grab that particular color of okay, slat blue. So slat blue right away. Okay, so if we check this, what we have now straight away. Okay, so we have this already set up. Then the next thing we should be looking at is to make this a fixed static. I want when you scroll this page, right, to some certain extent, this nav bar will be fixed, right? Will be fixed. And another thing, I can as well bring an active to this specific first element. For me to do that, I need to go and give a class to this very first one. Then I can give it a class name to be active, active like so. So in for me to style this, I need to call nav space li a dot active, right? Remember the class dot active. Then I'm going to bring in color. I want the color, the active color to be, want it to be red, something like that. But I don't know. Let's just try it. Maybe maybe the active color should be red, something like that, but not purely red. I'm just going to work around it straight away. Then we'll check how it is. No, it's looking off. Rather, um, let me put slatter blue as well. Slat blue, but I'm going to tell it a little bit to be darker. Right. All right. Couple of stuff I want to do now. I want when you scroll this to some certain points, let this particular element, this nav bar be sticky. So I want to quickly talk about the sticky property in HTML. Right. So for us to do that, remember that navbar is the parent element. So we're going to apply the sticky to it. So I can go up here and say position, position. I'm going to use sticky. Now, sticky is the combination of the fixed and static, right? Okay, so I want currently now, if you check, scroll the page, nothing is going to happen. But if I apply like top, like so, then I give it like 140 pixels, right? That means that when we scroll this page to 140 pixels, this navbar is going to stick to the page. Why we can't say it now is because this we don't have enough content that allows this to scroll to the top. But within a short while, I'm going to add some content to it, so we'll have this scroll to the top, so we can see that. And as well, I let's now remove this small margin remaining. So I'm going to scroll to the top of the page up here. So I'm going to call the body UL LI L, as well as ULLIA, as well as nav as well, right? Okay, so I'm going to apply some rules to it, which will say margin 0, right? Oops. Margin 0, then padding, going to apply 0, and I'm going to use the font family of I'm going to use fonts family of Arial in all of them, or Time New Roman. Okay, so if we go back to the page and look, you already see that all these have taken the shape, and there's no space again in at the side, right? All right. So everywhere good now. So the next thing, I couple of stuff I want to do. I want to attach content to this, right? I want to add some content to this particular page so that we'll see the sticky footer, right? So back to index.html file, I have a section for content. Maybe I should just change this. Should just change this to main, right? Okay, let this be main. Because it's one of the HTML elements main. So I think let me have some article. I'm bringing up um, some HTML element article with heading. I want to have head two as the heading. So I'm just going to write something heading heading here, right? Okay. So I'm going to have paragraph that have some uh, write up in it. Okay, so let me bring up add some paragraph in it here. All right, so you can write some couple of stuff here. Let me just keep it looking nice so we can see paragraph well written. Right. Okay, trying to keep this well positioned this much. All right. Okay, so if we go back to the page now, we'll have some content in it, right? I think let me go back to the CSS up here and call number. I want to replace this with heading one, any heading one, and heading two. Also, this should be applied to. So let's check it out. Okay, this is really cool. I think. Okay, this padding have gone out of the way we want it to be because of that. So we're just going to adjust this small first. So this was inside header, right? So let the padding be up to 15 pixels, right? Again, good. 15 is much. 10 pixels, good. All right, so we'll have these 10 pixels. Okay, now let's give it a scroll, whether with our content we can get to this or content is not much. So I'm going to duplicate that content again here so we can have enough content. Let's say a sticky footer, how a footer is going to be sticky, right? Okay. So you can see when we scroll to this extent, right? Up here, the footer is already sticky right away, right? Okay, but it's too much. Once the footer to be sticky around here, so we're going to go back to the CSS and adjust it inside the nav positioning, right? 140 we set. So here is going to be now 150, 180 rather. So we can now scroll and say it's much. So we're going to reduce it. So 100. All right. So let's scroll again at 100. It's supposed to be sticky, right? Oh, we don't really even know whether it's this. Let's still duplicate this content once again. So we'll check whether is this the page. I'm going to copy this and paste it again. Okay, we'll have enough content to scroll. Okay, okay, now so we still need to adjust this in our main the CSS file to 100. So let's try 90, 90 like so. Okay, so if we scroll towards here, it's still remaining, so let's give it 80, right? Cool. Okay, so now if we scroll our page, right, when it get to 80 pixels, it's going to hang right away, right? Okay, so we'll have it. So if we still have more content inside here or with time, we're going to see that in real time. So really, we have this well set up in this page. Next thing we want to work on is we're going to work on this content straight away. We're going to work on this content just immediately now, right? So let's go back to let's have a look at our content. So we have main and we have article, then heading one. So first of all, I'm going to call this main in main, right away. So I'm going to specify that I have max width we're going to have is going to be 100 pixels or percent rather, so that it will not overflow the screen. Then I'm going to have width, right? I'm going to have width to be 1200 pixels. We're going to apply margin to it. So margin, I want to apply 50 pixels, pixels, 50 pixels margin, 50 pixels margin top and bottom, and auto left and right. This will help to centralize this. If you look now, we have 50 pixels top and bottom, and auto left and right is going to center this first. I think we should increase that to 80. Let's have a look at it. All right, 80 pixels, right? Okay, so we'll have this setup. So we want to apply some padding to this. So I'm going to say padding as well. So the padding I'm going to apply is going to be zero padding, left and right. So I'm going to have 40 pixels up here. So if we have a look at it, it's going to look cool right on it. So but now if we inspect this using dev tools, and if we try to do this, we see that we have some leftover remaining. So we're just going to handle that by going there. We're going to use box sizing, and we're going to say box border box. So we're going to use Border box specify the width and height and respectively minimum and maximum, and it's going to work out for us. So if we checked and inspect this now, you're going to see we everything is going to be fine. So it's going to size to the box of what we're working on. All right. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to target this article itself right away. So from the HTML index.html file, we have article. So I'm going to tackle the article and the H2 inside the article. So I'm going to have article, then H2 inside of it, inside of the article. So I'm going to have a color. I'm going to give it a color of, let's look at it again. There's the color I'm going to give it. All right. So from the nav li color, there's the color. I'm just going to grab this color. This is the RGB color. I'm going to give to it. So I just grab the color, and the next I'm going to give it a font size of 22 font size pixels. So if we have a look at it, 22 is small. So I think I should give it up to 35. 35. Okay. 35 is cool, right? Okay, 35 is cool. So I'm just going to tackle this paragraph tag itself. Remember, we have the text inside the p tag, which I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to have article p right away. So I'm going to have line height, which will make give some good spacing into a two rm, right? So if we go and check it, we're going to have some spacing between the line height. Okay, or rather I give it 1.5, so it won't be much. I think this is better, 1.5 straight away. So the next thing I'm going to do inside here is for me to, I'm going to target the color. I think let's work on the color of this text up here. So if I have color up here, so the color I want to give is hexadecimal color, then 4b, 4b, 4b. Okay, I think this is going to be cool. Make it a little bit fainter. I think this is cool. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to target is the image. So if we go to the HTML, right? After the tag, we have, let me collapse this so it's not going to be too long right away. Okay, so I'm going to have this images class, right? So I'm going to give this li a class of um, images straight array, right? Okay, so from this from this images, I'm going to touch some of this. I want this to be in individual li, like li, another li. So let each of them be individual li. This is to enable me style this very well. So I think with this right away. Okay, so I should have another li straight way down here, li. Then I have the second image. So if we go back and look on the side, we're going to have all these um, line by line displayed. So I'm going to target this image, this class images straight away. So in the CSS file, I'm going to have the images straight away, which I'm going to give everything to be at the center, text line center, right way like this. So I'm also going to bring margin margin as 80 pixels, 80 pixels, then 80 pixels, top and bottom, then left and right. I don't want to bring any margin to it. So if we look, everything is going to be at the center straight away. So next thing I'm going to target again is going to be the list element that contain the images, right? So I'm going to call the list element. So this is going to be dot images, then li, right, inside. I want to bring in a display as inline block, which will help this to be in a straight line, inline block, straight away, and the images are already in a straight line. All right, we have this, but we need to have some spacing in between. So from the um, images li will display inline block. So we're going to say width. We're going to give it a specific width, which will be 40%, 40% width, right? Then we're going to have margin. The margin we're going to have 20 pixels margin, and we're going to have 5% left and right. 20 pixels margin. Okay, let's check first. In fact, let's preview it. We can see that each of them overlaps. Then if we go back, we're going to add margin to it. We're going to add margin. Going to add margin, let's 20% margin with 5 percent left and right. 20% margin top and bottom, then 5% left and right. If we check this spread a little bit, so we need to go to the parent to solve this problem and add white spacings, white space, white space rather. Then we need to say no wrap, right? Okay, let's see what happened. I think this then cool. There's the not cool. Okay, let's check really what's the problem. All right, I guess the problem is we use pixels here because by the time this page is showing this way, we cannot actually, the calculation cannot be done. But if we use percentage here, 40%, we're going to see say that this works, but it's much. So we're going to reduce this to 20% and see. So we have everything positioned as it's supposed to be. I think we need to do the same thing here too, so that instead for this to be in this one side, it can be at the center. So I think let's go to nav bar. Okay, I think here let's use percent and see really what happened. Okay, it's the same thing that happened here, which scale too much. So we can reduce this to 50. Let's see, it's still too much. 20, 20, right? 20 is much. Okay, 20. I think this is better, right? This is better. So we have successfully positioned this at the center, right? Okay. Since we position this at the center of the page, we want to make these images to expand and take their full width. So we can now target these images by doing images. Then we have li, then we have him property. You can remember in the index.html file we have him property inside there. So we can now have max width, to be 100% straight away. So this image is going to take the full width of their container right away, right? No, 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 no. I don't want this to be um, maybe I just have five. Okay, I think this is cool. This is cool now, but if I increase this to 30, okay, we are having this expanded too much, right? Way 20, right? Okay, so we have successfully get this done. Everywhere is cool. And the next thing I would like to target is going to be the subscribe button. This subscribe button to work well. Index.html right away. We want to work with this. So a couple of stuff I want to do because if you look up here, you see that it will be nice if you have a little text that will welcome people to them. So I can just have a p tag that I will have some text. In this case, I don't want paragraph. I want some insert a text. Instead of this, let me grab some of the write up here. I just want to grab a little write up here that stops here. Okay, I just copy it. So I want to put it on this pick tag. Okay, if we go back to web page, we have little pick tag. So I'm going to target it. If you check, we have a class of join. So I'm going to go down to dot join right here, which is our class. I'm going to give it a background color first, right? The background color is going to be I'm going to target this background of a nav bar right away. So that's just what I want to target right away now. Okay, this is the background color I want to target. This a color, yeah. Okay, up down here I want to paste it. So if we have a look at it, we have a background color. So I want to bring padding of top, left, right, top and bottom. So I'm going to have padding of I want to have 60 pixels, right, and I want to have 20 pixels right away. So this is what I'm going to have: 60 pixels top and bottom and 20 pixels left and right. Okay, so from here, I'm going to align everything at the center. So I'm going to have text line to the center. So everything is going to be at the center like so. Another thing I would likely want to do is to bring up a color of this, all the text inside here. I want to have a hash color of 4B, 4B, 4B. So everything will just look painted somehow. So now I'm going to target this and make it look big as well. So if we go there, you see that we have H5. I'm going to change it to H1 right way so I can target it. So I'm going to have dot join, then H1 tag, which now is going to be, I have the subscribe now. All right, subscribe now. So I think this is all good. Subscribe now is all good. All right, without doing anything to it. Okay, without doing anything to it is good. So I don't really need to style it anymore. So no need for this. Instead, let me style, bring up the font of this p tag. So I'll rather style the p tag join.p. So I'm going to use font size. Font size, I'm going to use 22 pixels. 22 pixels, so I have some text there that someone can see. Next, I want to style this input and make it look nice. If we go back to index.html file, we have a form tag. So I'm just going to target this. I'm going to use I'm going to use this. All right. So let's have a look at it again. All right. So I'm going to use dot join, right? No, let me target the input directly. Just the input and the button. So I'm going to call form directly. So I'm going to call form. Then inside the form, I'm going to call the input type. Remember the input type of type the input right way. So I'm going to target. I'm going to say height. I'm going to increase the height to 50 pixels. Right way. Let's check what happened. Okay. Right way 50 is much. So I'm going to have like 40 pixels right there. That's good. So I'm going to have border radius of 8 pixels, 8 pixels, 8 pixels, right away, border radius of 8 pixels. Okay, solid, and I want it to have this particular background, and the color of that I think is slat blue, I guess. So okay. Oh, this is border radius. So sorry. So I'm going to bring up border rather uh, border of this border of 1 pixel solid then slat view. So I have this. So I think I should have not font size. Let me have 22 pixels of font size. This will allow you to type anything you want to type and it's going to be big. You can see that on focus of this, the color change. All right. So a couple of stuff I want to do. I want to remove this background you see on focus. We have this, and maybe properly make this curve a little bit more. So if I come back to this input, maybe radius, I can give it 20 pixels, right? So that it will curve better, right? Okay, I can give some padding more. Padding, maybe I give 8. Oh, no, 2 padding. I think 4, right? 4 is better. I think let me make it white. I don't like this color anymore. White, like so. All right. So I want to remove this on focus. So that will take us to what we call pseudo classes. So pseudo classes will allow you to target element on focus. So for this, for pseudo classes, you use two icons. So I can say focus, right? Straight away. So I can now do in pseudo, I can do outline, then I'll use none for it. Okay, so if we go now, you see that we don't have any outline. So I can have border 2 pixels, um, dash. I want to use dash. Then the color I want to use is slat blue right away. So you can see when once you click on it, you're going to have this. So maybe I should have a little bit of padding from here. So I can have some padding between maybe 5 pixels padding top and bottom. So you can now type from here. All right. So next couple of stuff I want to do inside here. I think any need for this height since we're using padding. Okay, there's need for height. So instead of 40, I want to use 30 straight away. So it's going to look nice. So 40 is good. 40 is good, right? So I want to work on this, or we curve this more. I think if the radius is a little bit more, maybe 25 pixels, it's going to be very fine. All right. So I want to style this join now button. So I can as well call form dot button, right, which is here in this our form element. So I'm just going to style it now. So I'm going to call form, then button class, then I'm going to say background color of the form. Let's look again. I'm going to make it slat blue, right? Okay. So I'm going to give it a border radius of or border of border of 2 pixels, 2 pixels solid, 2 pixels solid, then slots like this is going to no, it's going to be fine. Okay, thing is cool like that. Then border radius. I'm going to give a border radius of 10 pixels, right? Okay, I think that would be nice. Then, really, I'm going to increase the size of this. I'm going to have a font size of 24 pixels, like so. Join now. Then let's increase the border radius uh, more. Border radius the more. So we're going to have something good 18. All right, join now. Then a little bit of padding to make it look nice. Then 10 will be what? 5 pixels, like this. So the color itself, I'm going to make the color white. So I can just call white straight way join now, right? Way. So I'll shift it a little bit more by using margin left. Going to give it 4 pixels. 4 is small, so I'm going to have 10 10 pixels right away. All right, so I think this is nice. Join now 24 is much. 20 or 22. 22. 22 will be better. Join now, right? Okay, so join now. Okay, so I think this is cool. Like at this time, this is just cool and it's a little bit of what we really want. Join now, maybe. All right. I think everywhere is cool. So we have gone a long way of bringing up this side to this limit straight away, and we have successfully come up with a good working site that we can have. The next thing we'll need to have on the site is the footer, right? So we're not going to forget footer on the site, right? And as well, I also want, if you work hard on this, it's going to give you another color on it and on the image as well. While the image look like this is because the sizes of the image are not the same. So when you're working on your real site, you make sure that you have the same dimensions of the images. So for now, let's add quickly add the footer, and I'll come back to the finishing touch. Back to our index the HTML file. So we're going to have a div with a class name of footer straight away, or we just have a footer element, footer HTML footer element. Then we're going to have a p tag that says tech 2023, 2023. Then we're going to have this ampersand copy. So we're going to call on copy, right? Ampersand copy at take up, take up. Then if we check this down, we have it down here. So we're going to style the footer straight away. I'm going to down here. I'm going to have the footer element. I'm going to say um, um, background color. The background color I want to give it, I want it to have the same background color. No, let it have a white background color. So I'm just going to say text line, everything aligned to center right here. Then next thing I'm going to have, you can see everything is at the center. Then the font size I'm going to have, no, everything center. Then I'm going to have the padding I want to have is going to be 20 pixels, right? Cool. So I think we have a very cool padding. Okay, maybe I have a background color. The background color I'm going to have is not going to be like that of this. So I'm going to grab this background color of join, this background color. I'll just grab it and copy it, and I'm going to have it here, but I'm going to tell it a little bit more to be more lighter, right? All right. Okay, I think something like this is cool. So I'm going to target the paragraph that's inside there. So I'm going to have a footer paragraph, the p tag we have there. So the color I'm going to have is going to be 4B, hash 4B, 4B, 4B. So this is going to be the color I want to have, and the font size I want to have, font size I want to have is going to be 18 pixels right away. Okay, I think this is nice. Okay, the couple of things I want to do, I want to start working on the image, a kind of a little bit shift on the image. So remember the image in the HTML file is inside li, all of them. So I'm going to call the class of the image. So dot images li, then I'm going to use offer. When you offer on this image, I want it to have a position of relative, right? Relative position, and it should shift a little bit small or from top of -4 pixels, -4 pixels, like so. Okay, let's just save this and have a look. So this is what it does. If you hover on it, it's just going to shift a little bit, right? All right. So next thing I want to do, I think I should do the same thing to this button up here. So I'm going to call this button class, right? I'll just get the button class up there. Then I'll apply the rules, the same rules to it. I'll just copy from here and let me paste it here. So I think it should be here. Oh, we need to add on offer to it up here. We did not add the pseudo class offered to it. This can only happen once it's offered. All right. Okay. So the next thing is here. I want if you offered on here, it should show that it has there's an offer on it. So the main class that holds that is in a navbar. So we have nav li as well. So we can as well have the nav li as well. So let's just quickly run it straight away and get it done. So back to our class like so. So we're going to call the nav lia and apply some colors to it. Nav li, then a, we're going to apply some pseudo class to it that will make it work. Then text decoration, we're going to have text decoration. Okay. Then we're going to underline. Remember, it's going to be a pseudo class offer, right? So that's what it does. If I go up here now, it's going to underline it straight away, right? Then I can also have a background to it if I want, but I think this is all right. Okay, so I think this is a couple of stuff we just need to do. So far, so good. We have spent a lot of times. We can also see that this image is very big up here, but when you're doing your real website, you're going to design a good image for your website where you can use it and your website. So this was just a way to show us how we can build a website from scratch using HTML and CSS, and we have been able to set up a good functional website from. This was how to show you how to use full HTML and CSS to build a website. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do so you will be notified once I publish new videos. In this channel, I always bring to you how to develop yourself in programming. All right, in our next video, I'll be talking about Bootstrap here on the site, how we can bring up a website using Bootstrap within a couple of minutes without wasting time. See you in the next video.